Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your overwhelming attendance and support. My name is Mona Vella Nicholas, and it is my great honor to be presenting this evening. Before we say, let's get on with the show, we have a number of distinguished guests that we would like to recognize. I ask you to please hold your applause until I go through the list. I would also like to ask our guests to please stand when I call out your names. Thank you. From Washington, D.C., His Excellency Keith Azzopardi, Ambassador of Malta to the United States. Hold your applause, please. His Excellency Guillermo Reyes, Consul General of Mexico in San Francisco, and Mrs. Reina Aguilar and their family. The Honorable Wayne Lee, Mayor of Millbrae. The Honorable Louis J. Vella, Honorary Consul of Malta in San Francisco, and Mrs. Lillian Vella. Mrs. Yanko Tanaka and Mr. Victor Young, representing the San Francisco Consular Corps. Former Mayor, Ms. Marge Colapietro. Former Mayor, Mr. Louis Grassberger. Former Honorary Consul, Mr. and Mrs. Edwin Bonavia. Mrs. Carmen Vella Orton, President of the Maltese Heritage Association, and Mr. Orton. Mr. Brian Chaparra, President of the Maltese-American Social Club, and Mrs. Chaparra. Mr. Vincent Falzon and Mr. Peter Schwierep, representing the Maltese Cross Foundation of California and their spouses. Mr. John Sant, President of the St. Elizabeth Maltese Society. Mr. Tom Dowdy and Ms. Eunice Danley, representing the Millbrae Sister Cities Commission. Mr. Bart Borg and Ms. Barbara Fenech, representing St. Paul of the Shipwrecked Church, representatives of the Maltese Community Network and the Maltese Historical Society. Please join me in giving them a warm round of applause. This evening, His Excellency Ambassador Keith Azzopardi, Ambassador of Malta, and the Honorable Louis J. Vella, Honorary Consul of Malta, have brought to us from Malta a small group of actors who will be presenting an original musical play entitled The Star of Strait Street. Before we raise the proverbial curtain on our play, you may or may not be aware that today, March 29th, has been designated as National Vietnam Veterans Recognition Day. On this occasion, the Maltese Historical Society would like to take this opportunity to honor our Maltese-American veterans who served during the Vietnam War era. Through the initiative of the Maltese Historical Society and Louis J. Vella, Honorary Consul of Malta, this evening, each veteran will be receiving a challenge coin. To assist us, we have the kind participation of Mrs. Roberta Grima and Mrs. Sandra Borch. A challenge coin is a small medallion which can be carried or saved by the recipient as a memento. Some people also collect these coins. They originated as awards for special achievement presented by military commanders to deserving members. For us, the challenge coin is a symbol of respect and of our pride in and gratitude for the service of our Maltese-American veterans. At this time, I would like to call up to the stage His Excellency Keith Azzopardi, who flew out from Washington, D.C. to join us this evening, and the Honorable Louis J. Vella, Honorary Consul for Malta, for Northern California and the states of Nevada, Oregon, and Hawaii. They will be presenting the challenge coins to our veterans. Without further ado, I will begin calling the names of the Maltese-American veterans we are honoring tonight. Each veteran will come up individually to receive his award, accompanied by a Maltese-American child from our community. First, we have Ron Borg, and he will be accompanied. His child accompaniment will be from Nathan Grima. Ron was a sergeant, SP4, Specialist 4 in the Army. He served from 1966 to 1968. He did serve in Vietnam. Thank you. Next, we have Victor DeBono. He will be accompanied by Caitlin Meyer, or not. He will be accompanied by Gavin Clements. Okay. Victor was a private first class in the Army. He served from 1963 to 1965 and was stationed in Hawaii. Yeah, come on. Oh. Okay. Next is Pachik Ajuz. And Pachik was supposed to be accompanied by Gavin, but Gavin has to go all the way around. So, yeah. Oh, okay, so Nathan Grima is going to accompany him. Okay. Pachik was an E3 in the Navy. He served from 1972 to 1974 and was stationed on Treasure Island. Thank you. Next we have Charles Abella, accompanied by Yasmin Abella. Okay, you can go right across over there. Get the pillow, honey. Charles was a private first class. He served in the Army Special Forces from 1967 to 1972 and was stationed in Panama. Good. Our next vet is deceased, so Raymond Tonti is deceased. Raymond Muscat, is deceased, and we will have John Tonti accepting for him. So John, if you can come up. And John is accompanied by our intrepid Nathan Grima. Raymond was a specialist E4. He served in the National Guard from 1965 to 1970 and was stationed in San Francisco. Oh, wow. Next, we have Vincent Itard. Vincent is accompanied by Oliver Gallia. Vince was a seaman in the Navy. He served from 1964 to 1966 and was in Vietnam. More than that, he was a SHAD veteran, which means that he was a victim of Agent Orange and has suffered greatly as a result of that. So thank you for your service. George Spiteri. George will be accompanied by Gianluca Bettucci. George was a Specialist 5 in the Army. He served from 1969 to 1972 and was stationed in Germany. Thank you. Next, we have Charles Camilleri. Here. Okay, we have James de Guerra. Accompanied by Helena Faculty. James is deceased, so his brother Charles de Guerra will be accepting for him. James was an E5 second class in the Navy. He served from 1963 to 1967 and was in Vietnam. Next is Ken Kouchi. He's accompanied by Max Simmons. Ken Kouchi was a petty officer in the Navy. He served from 1971 to 1973. And he served in Vietnam and Cambodia. Next is Louis Vella. and he will be accompanied by Andrew Faculty. Lewis was a staff sergeant in the Air Force from 1966 to 1969, and he served in the Mojave Desert as only a Maltese could. Next is Charles Spiteri. Charles is accompanied by Caitlin Cha. Oh, not Charles. Actually, Charles lives in another state, and so he is unable to be here himself, but his cousin, Sam Galdes, will be accepting for him tonight. Charles was a Lance Corporal in the Marines. He served from 1965 to 1966 and was stationed in San Diego. Next is Manuel Catania. Manuel Catania is accompanied by Mark Faculty. Manuel was a sergeant, E5 in the Army. He served from 1963 to 1966 and was stationed in Germany. Next is Chris Borg. Chris Borg is accompanied by Gabriella Simmons, who just happens to be his granddaughter. Chris Borg was a sergeant in the Army. He served from 1967 to 1969 and was stationed in Texas. Our next recipient is also deceased, Tony Sherry. So Pete Sherry, his uncle, will be accepting for him. He will be accompanied by Luke Lumenlan. Tony Sherry was a Specialist 4 in the Army. He served from 1969 to 1970. He served in Vietnam and died as a victim of Agent Orange. Next is Pete de Guerra. Pete is accompanied by his grandson, Mason de Guerra. Pete was an E4 in the Navy. He served from 1965 to 1967 and did serve in Vietnam. George George Borg is next. He is accompanied by our intrepid Nathan Grima. Oh, no, someone else. You'll notice that's not Nathan. This is Caitlin Cha. George was a sergeant first class, served in the National Guard from 1958 to 1976, and was stationed in Fort Ord and then Fort Funston. Thank you. Fred Aquilina. Fred will be accompanied by Lucas Gallia. Fred was a commander in the Navy and thus is our highest ranking veteran here today. He served from 1963 to 1990, and in 1965 he was in Vietnam. And last but not least, we have Peter Schembri. He's accompanied by Ashlyn Guerin. You're an E3, right? E3?
Specialist 4.
Specialist 4. Peter was a Specialist 4 in the Army. He served from 1967 to 1969. He did serve in Vietnam, and more than that, he is the only veteran here today who received a special medal for bravery. And so I present you with the Maltese-American Veterans of the Vietnam War. No, you're going to take a photo. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thanks. All right. Yes, thank you. Would you please give your speech from here because I don't know how to enable the... And now the Honorable Louis Vella would like to say a few words.
Here you go. Hello, everyone. There are a few empty seats here if you guys want to come closer when the play starts. These are usually better seats, but looks like everybody is comfortable. So, okay. I won't be long. So thank you, Mona. Where is she? She's gone already? And how about a big round of applause for Mona Nicholas? Good job, Mona. Yeah. Mona is the president of the Maltese Historical Society, besides a wonderful presenter. Yes, I would also like to recognize Mr. Matthew Mcdonald, who is here. Matthew, if you could please stand. Matthew McDonald, go. Matthew McDonald drove, and his wife, Dion, they drove all the way from Los Angeles for this. So thank you very much. And Matthew is the son of the author of the book that the play is based on. And he lives in Los Angeles, so thank you very much for coming. Just a quick note. I've been asked, are there really that many Maltese in the area? Well, we received over 500 reservation requests, and I can conservatively calculate that for every Maltese American in the room tonight, there are at least between 25 and 35 people who, for some reason or other, did not know or could not attend. You do the math. If this evening was on Saturday, this grand auditorium would have been far too small. It happens to be on a Friday, so a lot of people are at work, but we were able to pack it up anyway. So thank you all for the support. So my hope and my appeal is that we should not make an occasion like tonight like being at an Easter Sunday morning church service where faithful and pious people come out from the woodwork and pack the churches to the rafters, not to be seen in church again until Christmas, maybe. So we need to stay engaged. We are blessed with an encouraging number of Maltese groups, organizations, and all sorts of wonderful activities to promote our amazing Maltese heritage, culture, and history. Each of the organizations do a wonderful job, and they need our support and our involvement. Just one final thought. In the playbill that you have, the program, the playbill that you have in your hands, which is thanks to Stephanie Vella for the playbill, it has 8 pages. I would like you to turn to page 7, to the last paragraph of page 7. So you will read in quotation marks, "Always remember us this way." Any guesses where that came from? Yeah, of course. It is the title of one of the signature songs from the movie A Star is Born. Recently, it was released, and it featured Bradley Cooper and, of course, Lady Gaga. We all know that, right? I included that because tonight I feel that a star is indeed born. You, the Maltese-American community in California, is the star. You are the star. But the community is the star. Okay. Your presence, your participation, your support is a bright and shining star. Do not ever let the brightness of the star weaken or fade. Continue to shine like you are tonight, and with your light, guide, encourage, and lead others. Thank you. So, well, Mr. Ambassador, I live and work and laugh and cry with these people all year long. I can safely say these people did not come to see me, okay? Maybe Mona. So by a simple process of elimination, I would conclude that they probably came out to see and hear you. So, Mr. Ambassador, without further delay, I present to you the Maltese-American community in Northern California, here. And ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, the Ambassador of Malta to the United States of America, Mr. Keith Azzopardi.
Hello, everybody. If what Louis said is right, then I have to apologize for the trouble which I gave you this evening to come over. The first and the last time I was in San Francisco, it was like 7, 8 years ago. Over there I can see all my cousins, the Tonti and the Cole family. But it didn't cross my mind that several years later, I would be back in my capacity this time as the Ambassador of Malta to the United States. And besides having the honor of serving my country in this great nation, and it is indeed a great nation, it gives me also a great privilege and honor to meet the so many Maltese who, despite that you have been away from our country for so many years, despite the challenges you've been through all these years, you've managed to keep our culture and traditions alive. And for that, not only me, but the country is extremely grateful. I did not come here to make speeches and long speeches. This small event here, the small show, is a testimony of our history, and I'm pretty sure that you would enjoy it. But I cannot conclude before thanking some people. First and foremost, I would like to thank the artists who will perform in a few minutes' time for coming from such a long distance to make this happen. I would also like to thank my staff at the embassy in Washington, D.C., who, despite that they couldn't be here, they were extremely helpful in making this possible. And last but not least, and I say this very honestly, I am extremely grateful to our honorary consul, Vella, because if it was not for him, this event would not have happened. And I sincerely, Louis, I really thank you not only for this performance, but I know the work you put, as you rightly said, all year round. Unfortunately, our embassy is far away from here. I wish California was closer to the East Coast. I would be here every day because I love it. But nevertheless, we know that we have a representative here who is always willing to assist and do his utmost to bring the Maltese community together. They say I'm an ambassador. I say the ambassadors are you, because you are the ones living here all year round. You are the ones who could tell the others, our American friends, what Malta is all about, what Malta has to offer, whether you're at work, whether you're at the club, or wherever you are, and therefore you are the real ambassadors. And I would like to reiterate what Louis Vella has said about the importance of having the Maltese community meeting up and being as close as possible together. You are our testimony here. This is a great country. I'm really proud to see a number of veterans who have, contributed and are part of the history of this great nation. But even you, each and every one of you, you and so many other people coming from different parts of the world is what makes this country unique and special. So I thank you. I thank you for being a testimony of what Malta really is. And I sincerely hope that I would have more opportunities to come over and get to know you. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this event.
And now we have the Honorable Wayne Lee. Thank you. The Honorable Wayne Lee, who is the Mayor of Millbrae, who would like to make a presentation.
Good evening. My name is Wayne Lee. I'm the current mayor of Millbrae. We're just very honored to have the Ambassador Azzopardi here. Your Excellency, thank you for visiting our humble little city here. It's not so humble because we have a great Maltese population that we're very proud of. And some days I consider myself Maltese, so I hope that you will allow me. But the first time I actually tried to go to Malta, they turned the ship around, so hopefully this April, I might actually make it on land. This time I'm taking a plane, a different route. I just want to thank you, the Honorable Consulate Vella, for inviting me and the city. You've been a fantastic resource for the city, and we owe a big gratitude to you because every year we get closer and closer to our sister cities in Malta. And that's why our sister city committee is going to visit Malta this April. And I am proud to be able to lead that delegation. So I'm really excited about that. So I'd like to present this pin to you, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And also, we have a small commendation that the city would like to recognize this production that you're putting in here, and it kind of puts us on a map. So we're very grateful for this opportunity. And I just again welcome all of our friends who came all the way to see this production, and also all in our Maltese population, something we are very proud of. Also, we want to thank all the veterans who served our country and other countries. You don't know how much you've done. Every little bit it was a very difficult time, and I think that you deserve every recognition. So thank you for your recognition.
And now, on to the play. Star of Strait Street is a true story, a love story, and also a love letter to Malta. Christina Ratcliffe went to Malta to entertain troops and ended up falling in love with a dashing Royal Air Force pilot named Adrian Warburton. Strait Street in Valletta was teeming with bars and cafes, and Christina sang and danced at one of the finest in Valletta, called The Morning Star. The action of the play moves between Christina's flat in Floriana and the Morning Star Cabaret Bar in Strait Street. Christina fell in love with a pilot, but she also fell in love with the people of Malta. They suffered so bravely during World War II when the bombing was intense and continuous, and there was never enough to eat. She volunteered with the Royal Air Force and stayed on the islands throughout the war, working with many Maltese girls in the Lascaris war rooms. As you'll see in the play, Christina then stayed in Malta long after the war, until the very end of her life. This play was presented in Valletta as part of last year's European Capital of Culture celebrations, and also in London and in 3 cities in Australia. Now, please give a warm San Francisco welcome to Polly March, Larissa Bonacci, and Jeff Thomas as they present to you the Star of Strait Street.